Good morning, everyone from Birmingham. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, March the 16th. Hey, Bucks Island is the Daiwa booth down here at the Red Crest Expo at the BJCC, the Birmingham Jefferson Convention Center. Come on down here. We're going to have some deals for you. Of course, Red Crest is going on. That's the championship for the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour. We're down here to celebrate with those guys. We'll be doing a little bit of media work on my site. And we're going to have a fully stocked booth here. Come see the Daiwa stuff. Come see some of our tackle. But first, what we want to do is check you in on some of our guys and see what's happening on their bodies of water. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, March the 16th. Hey, we're here at the BJCC this week with Major League Fishing's Red Crest. We got the Bass Pro Tour guys here. Josh is going to tell us what to expect that these guys are going to do this week on Lay Lake, because that's where the tournament's happening. Josh, what's happening at Lay? Let's start there.
Man, we might actually get to see some sight fishing this week. There's definitely there's some up kind of milling around, and they're getting antsy and they're getting ready to do their deal. So I'd look for some of the guys on the south end to maybe do some sight fishing. You might actually see a frog play a little bit this week for some of these pre-spawners. You're still gonna have a bunch of guys out looking at them though. You still got a bunch of fish scattered out. Might see some spook stuff for some spotty bass that are actually spawning. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of guys that are actually start playing with some seawalls and stuff like that and try to catch some spawning spotty bass.
I talked to, we're recording this on Thursday, so the tournament's just getting started this morning, but I did talk to Kevin Van Dam, and he's going to have a bunch of rods on his deck, have to do a bunch of different things. Of course, he had his hopes and wishes for good bites, shallow. I talked to Cody Meyer, who said he's going to have a big bunch of rods. Bradley Roy, same thing. Is that what they're going to have to do out here? Is just kind of have everything that they're ready?
This is going to be everything. This is going to be you're going to have guys fishing from 6 inches to 26 feet.
Yeah.
There's literally fish everywhere on the whole entire Coosa right now. But Lay in particular, those fish tend to spawn kind of early. Spotted bass, so you'll start seeing them spawn at that 57, 58 degree range. And largemouth kind of follows shortly after, but spotted bass always seem to lead the charge. So you're going to see guys like, especially early, they're going to start fishing some of these hard spots. And that's where the whole spook and shaky head and stuff like that kind of play in. And I look for your main largemouth deal to be like an 11 to 1 ish kind of range. But you're going to, like I said, you're still going to have a lot of guys that are looking at them on forward facing.
And I think Dustin Cannell's a good bet to win this thing. Last 30 seconds, touch on Logan Martin. What do you think's going on there?
Same thing. Spotted bass are getting ready to spawn, so they're going to be on that same kind of hard chunk rock deal. The mythical largemouth at Logan Martin, they ought to be starting to do their dock deal, staging up to spawn also. So floaters and some of the mouths of these pockets and stuff like that ought to start shining here soon. But yeah, man, good luck to the guys. It's going to be a junk fishing bonanza.
And a grind, absolutely. Josh, as always, man, we appreciate the insights. You got a unique one when it comes to pro fishing. We appreciate it, brother. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, boys.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, March the 16th. Hey, we're up here at the BJCC for the Red Crest from Major League Fishing. Bucks Island is the Daiwa booth, so come on up here and visit us here, booth 108. But first, what we're going to do is check in with Gentry Gordy. We're going to talk a little bit of fishing on Lake Martin and Jordan Lake. Gentry, what's happening at Jordan Lake? Let's start there.
Well, it's springtime, Dano. The water's warming. We've had those cool nights, but these warm days, I would say look for bedfish, but we've had a lot of rain, and I just don't think you're going to see them. But, right. People, where they are. The back of the pockets up on the bank. It's just a matter of, slowing down if that's what you want to target, especially if you, catch a small buck bass, that mama's probably right close by. But, running the banks with the water dirty, especially if you can get a little bit of wind, square bill and stuff like that until you can, get you an area. But it's, this is a time when I start looking from the middle of the pocket towards the back.
I understand that one. You certainly want to start out and go in. There's a thought that you kind of go all the way to the back of something and fish out until you run into them. But one way or the other, they're going to be on their way into those shallows, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's turn our attention right now. We'll go to Lake Martin. I know you spent quite a bit more time there recently. What's happening down there?
The water's come up really, really fast. When we were up there last weekend, Friday night it jumped up 14 inches overnight when that rain come in Friday night. So it messed them up a little bit for me. I think for a lot of guys too, if you look at the weight. But I talked to a lot of the guys, and they said the back of the pockets where the pollen's starting to get on top of the surface with the trash,
Yep.
a foot of water. That's where their big bites come from, on a frog and a swim jig over blowdowns and stuff like that. So it didn't necessarily have to be in the back of a big pocket. I mean, it's pretty much any little cut off the lake, and all the way to the back of the big pockets. But anywhere you could find that pollen scum line on the surface was what the big fish seemed to be relating to, because it was held up with some shallow water and some structure.
Entry, are the debris pockets, are they dense, thick? Is it something you have to flip, or are they just kind of there on the surface and you can throw a frog and things like that across them?
Yeah, no, it's just right there on the surface. It's nothing too thick. And what I see a lot up there this time of year is when the water starts to come up, it starts to pick up a lot of the leaves and pine straw, that was out of the water. So, as much as you want to throw a buzzbait in the top water plug, I mean, it's a pain with all that. But a ribbit frog and a hollow body frog seems to come through it well.
That's great. Gentry, brother, we appreciate everything. Thanks for the time. Have fun, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, guys, take care.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan from the Birmingham Jefferson Convention Center, the BJCC, where Red Crest is happening this week on Lay Lake. But right now, what we're going to do is check in with Tom Ott. Tom's going to tell us what's going on at Guntersville. I know the big girls are looking to eat up there, but is the mud going to make it a little more difficult?
Dano, I can tell you, I believe that it definitely has made it a little bit tougher this week. I mean, things were just it was crazy. I mean, we were just catching fish left and right. Things really settled down, and I think a lot of that just has to deal with, the new moon, that first wave of fish that really came in, that came in a little early. A big wave came in a little earlier than I expected, but, it's just it's definitely changed some. TVA's dropped the bottom out of the water. We're looking for a lot more rain to come in. Things are definitely dingying up. And typically, when the water comes up and it's muddy, you go to the bank. Things aren't panning out right now. I don't know what the deal is, but, those fish are still there. They haven't left. They're still going to eat. You just got to work a little bit harder for them. But it's definitely presented a challenge for this old boy. I'll tell you that. They're not in the same places, or they're not eating the same baits right now. And that just, it's a little perplexing. I don't know exactly what to say and how to attack that, but it's perplexing for sure.
Okay, so this time of the year, typically, we're looking at a jerkbait bite. We're looking at bladed jigs for bass. We're looking at, having some sort of a lipless crankbait, those kinds of things. Would you recommend following that same type of program and just keep moving? Or do you think it's time maybe to slow down and put a flipping jig in your hand, and big shows well in dirty water?
I'm telling you, I've kind of just beat my head against the wall and continued with the same patterns. What I am starting to see is a little bit of an underspin bite, a small swim bait bite that's starting to, emerge a little bit. And, you start to see that as the water warms and fish get a little bit shallower. But that swim jig bite, a flipping jig bite, is probably one of the best things to look for now. It's just locating those fish in those areas that you can really slow down. You got to fish fast and then slow down kind of deal.
Right.
And if we could get some water up in there, I think that would really help that shallow grass bite. But right now, I think the fish have just pulled off maybe to the second or first break, really, in that 5 foot of water. I'm just going to continue on with the rattle trap, the chatterbait, and just keep on plugging and moving as much as possible. And I know I'm going to run into them eventually. And I'm thinking that's what most people are doing, because there's boats everywhere.
Well, there you have it, folks. Tom Ott demonstrating the absolute definition of insanity. Do the same thing, except a different results. Crappie fishermen, check along the causeways and the bridge pilings. I'm sure they're starting to show up there too. Brother, we appreciate everything, man. Hope you come down and see us this weekend at the BJCC. We'll talk to you again next week. Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island area fishing report for Saturday, March the 16th. Hey, we're down here at Red Crest, BJCC. Bucks Island is the Daiwa booth. We will have some tackle down here this week from the loft, but we are here to support the anglers and support Daiwa. But never neglect the home front. We're going to turn around and talk to Lee Pitts right now. Lee, what's going on at Weiss Lake and Neely Henry these days? Start me at Weiss.
Weiss, we've still got a lot of mud coming through right now. We're trying to flush it out. We've got 3 turbines running for the past few days. Starting to get some of it out. Some of the bays are starting to clean up a little bit, but it's still got our fish kind of in a holding pattern. Most of the fish that we're seeing are still staying out in the bays. They're not the quantity of fish that we're used to seeing this time of year. I think everything, because of our weather, has been delayed a little bit. So we can see it progressing a little bit. They're starting to come out of that river channel, starting to get in these bays and coming off the bottom a little bit. But usually when these fish are laying real deep and holding tight to that bottom, it makes it tough. So right now, what we're trying to do is really, really concentrate with our hummingbirds and find some of these fish that are coming up in the water column a little bit. Maybe get around some bait, So you're looking for bait and some of the fish coming off the bottom, and that seems to be what's triggering the bites right now.
So crappie, I'm assuming that's going to be kind of jig heads, Bobby Garland jig heads, Mo Glows, and some other kind of baits. Bass, are we talking still bottom fishing? Are we talking drop shotting? Are we talking crankbaits? What are you talking?
Now, the crankbaits, and the bass is a little different right now. They're starting to, with this water flow, they're positioning up a little bit. They're still not real aggressive. You can catch them on a square bill. I know a lot of guys are using that vibrating jig right now and even throwing some rattle traps. I talked to some guys, matter of fact, yesterday, and what they're trying to key on for the spotted bass, they're looking for some of these sandbars, gravel bars, things like that tip out into that current. And really, really, it's almost like you're like a Tennessee River deal playing that current. You're setting up where you're sweeping that bait across the current because these fish are set up to feed on that. So catching some spots, the largemouth are still up there tight around some wood cover or in some rock like that, vibrating jig, a regular flipping jig, and even a little bit of square bill.
Neely Henry is going to be much the same programs, but folks, watch a little current. Look for those seams, right? You want to see the eddy seams and that kind of stuff, correct?
That's it. And then that seems to be where they're holding because that's flushing that bait by them. They don't have to exert a whole lot of energy kind of laying behind some of those eddy spots. And that's where you're going to find your fish right now.
Lee, as always, brother, we appreciate everything. Good luck this weekend. Catch them big. Well, that'll do it for our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, March the 16th. Happy St. Patrick's Day for me, the Irishman here at Bucks Island. Tomorrow's corned beef and cabbage day, and we look forward to that. But for the rest of you that just want to go fishing, come on, see us at Bucks Island. We are open on our summer hours now. We are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays, 8 to 2. But thanks to the guys for what they have to say. Help us put a few more fish in the boat, and come see us at Bucks Island or in our satellite location this weekend at the BJCC. The loft is open.